The greatest thing that any of us has to offer is love.
Patriotism is love of country, and you cannot love your country unless you love all of your countrymen and women.
We live in a world that has a lot of different folks who look different, who sound different, who do different things, who form different kinds of families. And as Americans, we look at that and say, it's not our weakness, that's our strength.
Transgender men and women are in a position where they should be able to do anything anybody else in the world can do. There should be no difference. I mean it sincerely.
The real strength of a leader is based not on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up. So across the board that applies. And it also is about then really speaking to our youth to say, I see you. We have to create a safe place. And it starts with the top levels of leadership to recognize and give dignity and give safety.
Any freedom that we honor in this country has limits when it comes to harming other people. We say that the right to free speech does not include the right to yell fire in a crowded theater. A famous justice once said, "My right to swing my fist ends where somebody else's nose begins." And the right to religious freedom ends where religion is being used as an excuse to harm other people.
My name is Jacob, and I'm a 9-year-old transgender American. What will you do in your first week as president to make sure that kids like me feel safer in schools? And what do you think schools need to do better to make sure that I don't have to worry about anything but my homework?
Here's my plan, Jacob. I'm going to find just the right Secretary of Education, but here's what I plan to do. I want to make sure that the person I think is the right Secretary of Education meets you and hears your story, and then I want you to tell me if you think that's the right person, and then we'll make the deal.
The schools should allow people to use the bathrooms that conforms with their gender identity, but we cannot stop there. We must use our Department of Justice and our Department of Education's Civil Rights Division to go after schools that are denying people equal rights and equal protections. As your president, I will actively, as much as people who are activists who fought for that equality for Black Americans, I fight for it with the same ferocity, with the same sense of urgency every single day for LGBTQ Americans.
There can be no reward, no benefit, no tax break for anyone or any institution, any organization in America that denies the full human rights and the full civil rights of every single one of us. And so as president, we're going to make that a priority, and we are going to stop those who are infringing upon the human rights of our fellow Americans.
Will you support federal and state measures to forever ban so-called conversion therapy practices?
Yes. I think we know this makes no sense at all. We know this isn't the right thing to do. And what I'm amazed about you, Seth, is you somehow got through this and are hero to so many other young LGBTQ community members. So I want to thank you so much for that. It is role models, it is education, and it is making sure that we fight at every level.
The United States needs to stand up for human rights, including the human rights of people from the LGBTQ community, and to make foreign aid contingent upon countries improving in that regard. Because I don't think that it's enough for us to just say words. We actually have to take action. We have to make that meaningful, and I would do that as president.
What we should be doing in a case like trying to come up with solutions to AIDS, with cures for AIDS, is going directly to the best scientists and funding them as much as necessary, as much as conceivably effective to make sure that we solve this problem. But it's much bigger than that. These companies have bought the government. They are controlling what's going on in the government. They charge us what they want. We can't go to Canada to buy the same drug much cheaper. And in fact, the government is prevented legally by negotiating with them. What's going on here is we're going to have to break, ultimately, the power of these corporations to own our government and to control what happens to us.